All right, and we're recording. Thanks for doing this, Luisa. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for doing this. I'm interested in talking to you because I've never talked to anybody from Germany before. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that. And yeah, so I grew up in Germany and I always wanted to go to the US. It was always a dream for me to do a high school exchange year, but
Why was that a dream? What
Yeah.
about the United States that made you dream to come here?
It's always, we watch all the American movies and for me, it was just like an amazing like country with so many places to travel to. And, I always thought Americans are like super nice and just,
Wow, were you ever wrong?
no, but also the sports and the pride that Americans have in the country, it's something that's so nice and that we don't have that much in Germany.
It's interesting that you would say the pride that we have in this country, because I think a lot of people think of that as a bad thing, like in certain aspects, because like pride can be like, if you're too prideful, it almost seems like it can be like a white supremacy type thing. But I understand what you're saying. It's important to be proud of where you come from.
Yeah.
Is Germans not like that?
No, I think we're absolutely not like that, which is, the only time we celebrate and like have the German flag out is for the World Championship in soccer,
That's it.
Yes. So
Wow.
Other than that, we don't really celebrate Germany at all.
You guys don't have like a independence type day like the United States?
We do, but it's not celebrated that way.
No.
No.
No fireworks. No barbecues.
No. Like we are very, I think it's because of the German history that it's just not that common, but it's something that's so nice here because it's so, always like it makes the events happier. I don't know.
See, that seems like something you would kind of celebrate though, because of their history, and when things kind of change, why wouldn't they celebrate? Like, it seems like a reason to celebrate, right? Because they kind of broke free from some of the past events.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I think it's because of the things that happened and maybe like being like, okay, we cannot be that proud of who we are. But I just think that's something that's super nice in the US, like always singing the national anthem before every sports game, no matter how small the game is, even I think middle school, right?
I mean, literally at every sporting event, or any kind of event, really. I just took my son and my daughter to what's called Monster Jam. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
It's like where monster trucks like jump and they do like wheelies and stuff. It's pretty cool. But at that event, they sang the national anthem.
Really?
And almost at every event where people gather together, they do it. It's interesting. It's kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah, but it's nice, I think.
It's interesting too that they like have like American flags outside of every business.
Mm-hmm. Or at even homes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do they do that in Germany?
No.
No,
only during the World Championship. Really.
That is so interesting. Yeah, I guess it's a good thing that we're like that, right?
Yeah, I think it is. And, it's just like a totally different experience to go to high school here because, I didn't do it, but that's just so nice because we don't have high school sports like you guys have here. Like our sports in Germany, if we want to play competitive, or want to play sport at all, we need to be part of a club.
Right.
Or we need to go to a sports school, which is then like really specified.
So it's kind of like an extracurricular activity.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's separate from going to school.
Yeah, so kind of school is always more important. Of course, not everybody sets their own priorities, but like I feel like the system kind of is like, okay, school is more important.
I feel like that's a good thing because, like here in the United States, I feel like a lot of schools put sports before education. And so I think in some aspects it's really good because it gives children or kids an opportunity to like do really good in school, because if they don't do good in school, then they can't play sports. But then in other schools, like they don't follow that system. They just say, okay, well, we're not going to worry about your grades and how you're doing in school. No matter what, you can play sports. Mm-hmm. So I think it can be like a hindrance to kids as well.
yeah, like the one thing I think here, because then I came here for college. So the one thing I thought then is maybe there's a lot of pressure for kids, and even pressure that the parents need to put on their kids, because maybe sports is the only financial like scholarship option.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the problem I see with that. And of course, I am thankful for the education we have in Germany. Like, I think it's very good.
Yeah. Because it's paid by the government, right?
That too, but it's also very, I think, we have to always study a lot, like I feel like it's like it prepares you for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, growing up in Germany, you said that you kind of grew up watching sports and like wanting to play sports. What sports did you want to play? What sports caught your attention, and what sports did you consistently watch?
No, like, so I didn't watch sports that much, but I always played volleyball. Since like first grade. I was always part of a volleyball club, but since it was always after school, at some point there wasn't that much time for it, or I needed to switch clubs, so it was a little bit complicated, but one girl from my latest volleyball club in Germany went to the US to study and combine studying and playing volleyball, and I thought, wow, that's like an awesome opportunity, because I didn't do the high school year, and also a lot of Germans aspire to go to an English-speaking country to learn English, which the high school year would help with.
What other countries would they go to? You mentioned other English-speaking countries. I can't talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than the United States, what other countries would they go to?
Some people go to Great Britain, or it's also common to do work and travel in Australia or New Zealand. That's what a lot of people do after the high school graduation in Germany. And but for me it was like, I thought maybe I'm not the right person to do work and travel, because it's very like being alone.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know if that would be the right thing for me. So, and I thought it would be great to combine studying and playing volleyball in the US, because then I could see, how much can I improve?
This episode is brought to you by Red Bike Delivery. This delivery service operates only using battery-powered, eco-friendly transportation. Red Bike Delivery is there for all your delivery needs, whether it's dinner for the family, flowers for your partner, or new houseplants for your new collection. Red Bike Delivery will gladly deliver those and everything in between. So what are you waiting for? Check out Red Bike Delivery on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Red Bike Delivery, because there's only one Earth.
Volleyball.
Right.
But also not waste time.
Yeah.
And learn English.
Now, when kids are when they're in high school and they're trying to go to college on like a college scholarship for sports, it's oftentimes very difficult to get. It's not an easy thing to obtain. How did you manage to do that without playing in high school?
Yeah, so of course I played in the club, but then I contacted an agency, which also helped. The girl that already went to the US from my club.
Real quick, how long did you play in the club?
So for almost like 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
so you had experience. You weren't just somebody who just randomly started playing volleyball and got a scholarship.
No, I played for 12 years. Of course, I knew that I had a lot to catch up still, because I wasn't used to practicing every day. I never had that. So that's something, I feel like students here are used to always practice, right?
Yeah, kind of.
I
think it depends.
Yeah, you don't I think high school teams.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, I think it depends on how dedicated the kids are.
Okay.
Because I remember going to school, like some kids would train and then they'd just go home and then like some kids would skip practice and whatnot.
Okay, but
it just depends on how dedicated you are.
Okay, well, just because I went to Madonna University here in Michigan. Just because I thought, okay, because we all practice every day, so I thought that was like a common thing to do in high school as well.
This is a really dumb question. You said you went to Madonna University.
Yeah.
Is it Was it started by Madonna? It wasn't started by Madonna, right?
No, it's because of it's a Catholic school, so it's.
Oh, okay. It shows you how much I know.
Religious reasons, but
Are you Catholic?
No, I'm actually not religious.
Oh,
it's not that
okay.
I don't believe in anything. I'm very like open to what anybody believes in. It's just that I didn't grow up with it. Yeah, it's
what's the common religion over in Germany?
Yeah, Christian.
Christian.
Well, yeah,
and that pertains of like Catholicism and like Christianity, like
yes,
yeah.
And I also think that in my family it has also to do with the past because, my great grandma, like they all believed in God, but they just couldn't believe anymore once all the men died because of the war. So that's why it didn't continue in my family, which is kind of deep now. But yeah. So
now, when you were getting ready to come over to the United States, how did your family feel about that? Were they upset? Were they supportive? What were their thoughts?
No, they were very supportive. I think they always knew because I always wanted to go abroad, so they knew. I think that would come. It wasn't something they wanted to stop me. Because of course, I think they were always hoping, okay, after 4 years she will be back.
Yeah.
Which I'm not yet, but that was the kind of reason. But because you ask how people get a scholarship, that are foreigners, so we use agencies who like help us with a highlight video, and then they send videos out to coaches in the US and like establish the connection. I just wanted to answer that.
Yeah, thanks for going back. I actually forgot that I asked that, and I'm sure the listeners are probably like, "You freaking idiot."
No.
So your parents were definitely okay with you coming here. Mm-hmm. Were they like scared, nervous, and any of that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they were, because I don't have any siblings, so I think.
So you're the only child?
Yeah.
Wow.
So my family is like very small, so I'm sure that they worried and still worry, but I think it kind of helped as well because, once I was here, like my mom, it doesn't help if she texts me, like she cannot control, like, am I home yet? Like it's
right.
I think it took off worries from her because she couldn't control it. Like,
she had to kind of learn to let go.
Yeah.
Now, as far as like being abroad and having some of the technology that we have, it's got to be easier to stay connected and keep in touch, right?
For sure.
Because I could imagine probably even like 10 years ago, it would have been a little bit more difficult for parents to send their kids to the United States or vice versa.
Yeah.
Like you don't have FaceTime, you don't have Facebook. I mean, I guess you might have had Facebook, but the capabilities of it were kind of limited.
For sure. So that definitely makes things easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what did you study when you came to Madonna University?
I studied journalism and I did a minor in broadcast and cinema arts because, I always had the dream of becoming a news anchor or, now I'm a reporter, which is, very close. So that's.
Where did that dream come from?
It's crazy. So I always thought of.
You just want to be in front of a camera, didn't you?
Right. No, but I always thought a lot about, okay, what should I become? I think I was always really like overthinking, basically. So I was always wondering like what would be the right path for me, and I always loved writing. I always loved writing stories when I was younger. So, first I thought maybe I should be an author, something like this. But then when I visited a radio channel in my hometown, like it was a career day kind of thing, that was in 8th grade when I was 13. And I thought that was so cool. Like, I don't know, the whole environment, you work in an office, but you also go outside to ask people questions, interview people. You use your voice. You also edit. And radio, you only edit audio, but like that was still like, such a variety of tasks that I thought journalism would be the perfect path for me because, I'm interested in people. I like listening to other people. So yeah, that's how it developed. And since then I stuck with that.
I think that's pretty cool because you and I kind of do the same thing. And we've talked about that before. And like for me, I enjoy doing the podcast because I get to help other people. I get to talk to interesting people like yourself. But I also get to help other people share their stories and like whatever they want to talk about. I'm offering a platform for them to discuss, and you're kind of doing the same thing, correct?
Yeah, and I think that's so nice because you actually feel like you're doing something meaningful, right?
Yeah.
Like I always feel like when I report on something, I always think that will help the person or that will help listeners to understand more about something, or, you know, even help them with a problem directly if we, you know, if we are talking about a person that is dealing with the same problem.
Or like bring awareness to something that might be considered like what would be like a social issue, or like just help other people, like maybe a business, talk about whatever they're promoting.
Yeah, and I really like that. And, you know, it's crazy. Every story turns out to be interesting, you know?
Yeah. I think you can find interesting things in everybody.
Yeah.
Like I've had people message me and be like, I would do the podcast, but I have nothing to talk about. I'm like, yeah, you do. Like we can just sit here and we can just bounce ideas back and forth. And I guarantee you we could have a good conversation.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. And, you know, a lot of times the interviews or conversations lead to like way more than you had in mind before, right?
Yeah. I might learn so much about somebody just sitting here for an hour talking to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you see yourself ever doing radio, like a radio thing?
You know, after I was there for this career day, like around 2 years later, like I was hosting a radio show there with other teenagers. So that was super nice that they gave us the platform, you know, because like probably mostly adults were listening because, you know, teenagers don't listen to the radio that much.
Right.
But that was just a really cool experience. And then it felt a little bit like, okay, radio isn't a challenge that much because I've already kind of achieved it. Of course, there's like opportunity to grow and, you know, things like that. But I felt like TV would be the right thing. And I liked anchoring a lot.
Now, as far as like the media news, because this is the thing with like technology and the way things have kind of transformed over the years, everything kind of takes on a new form, a new way of, they like discover a new way of doing things. Has that been something you've witnessed since you've worked in that realm, where like maybe they do things differently than they had maybe in the past?
Oh.
Because like with the how do you say that? Invitation. Yeah, whatever. Of like the internet and the way like maybe like podcasts are done, or like the like online media.
Yeah.
Have they taken a different turn, and do they do things differently? Because not many people are. I mean, a lot of people still watch TV, but it's real limited because like for me, I don't have television.
Yeah, so what I think, I mean, of course, you know, I didn't work in the past.
I felt like that was a really long, roundabout way to ask a question.
No, that's fine, but I really understand what you're coming from. And I think that's, like, I think the TV channels and also newspapers always need to think about ways to reinvent themselves.
Thank you.
Like,
good way.
Yeah, no, because they need to, you know, I feel like some newspapers will create maybe a podcast, or they will create an online newsletter or something. And for us, for example, Fox47, you can also watch it on Roku. So there's an app, you know. So, and there's an app for the phone as well. You know, like there are things like that I think that TV channels need to keep up with.
Yeah.
To stay, especially because the target group are younger people as well, because to survive, the channel needs to keep kind of drawing the younger population. Like,
yeah, because the only people really watching television are like people who are kind of older, but the people who like, I guess like for myself, like I'm a younger guy, but I'm also like kind of like I'm almost 30. So I like to like read the news, and I like to get it real quick. Like I don't want to sit in front of the TV at a certain time and like see what's going to be on the 5 o'clock news. I want to just be able to be like, what's going on, you know, whenever throughout the day, because I'm a busy person. So I think for that part, it would be good, you know, if the TV channel ensures a good social media presence, and because if not, you already have the news on your phone from social media. Like, why are you going to, you know, watch the same thing then on TV, right? Right.
So yeah, I think that's definitely something that I think that Fox47 is trying to do also, like they send push messages to the phone if you have the app.
Okay.
But I think social media could definitely improve because, that's something that our generation, I think, looks at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though we know, okay, social media is not the place to get our news, right? But I think news outlets, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I interrupted you, so.
No, I just think news outlets could use social media for them.
The way I look at social media is it's a tool. Like for me, like I do the podcast, so I use it as a tool to like promote and for other people to see my content. And I think a lot of like Fox47, all the other news organizations do kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I was just curious to know how they were using some of the newer things to I guess not necessarily promote, but like to like get their information out there. So
yeah, I mean something they really think is important, at least for us, is to like they kind of want the reporters to also engage on social media because then, if we share our stories, maybe, people that watch us specifically get more interest in watching the news. So it's important for, the people you see on TV to also engage.
Now, I want to get to this, but I kind of want to go back a little bit. I want to go back to when you first came to the United States. We're kind of like bouncing ahead to you working at Fox47. But when you came to the United States, what was that like for the first time when you were getting on the plane, you were landing? Were you scared? Were you nervous? What kind of barriers did you have to kind of overcome first coming to the United States as a German citizen?
Yeah, of course, it was crazy. The feeling, to be on the plane for like 10 hours and think, oh my God, I don't even know what to expect, like you have a lot of, like I had a lot of ideas, like, of the team. Like I thought, okay, it would probably be very welcoming, which it was, but like I had like a lot of things in mind, but like I didn't know. I never visited Madonna before, so I didn't know really what to expect. And then my coaches picked me up from the airport and my roommate, and I've never met her before either, or all of them I have never met in person. So that was a very interesting experience. And, of course I was shy and my English wasn't that good, so English was definitely a big challenge because even though our education in Germany is good, like, and some can speak better than others, like I was definitely, I was never that big of a fan of our English classes because I was always like hesitant to talk in front of the class. So that was something that I think is the reason why my English wasn't that good, because understanding it and listening to it is different than speaking.
Right.
So, when then the volleyball team would talk, they would just say all the things like, back and forth. And when I was like preparing my sentence to say, like once I was done with that, like it was already over. The conversation was already over. So that was like a big challenge because I felt like I couldn't show myself the way I was. And, I thought that was very difficult to make friends because, I couldn't be funny. Like I couldn't say anything I was thinking. I always needed to think about a clear sentence.
Yeah, that would be very difficult. I couldn't imagine that. I mean, I couldn't imagine that at all. That'd be very difficult and frustrating, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, the classes were fine, that was kind of like, because it's more listening and writing.
So how did you get good at it? Did you listen to like audiobooks or podcasts?
So,
I'm sorry. Because like now, like sitting here talking to you, you're not like five statements behind. You're able to keep up with the conversation just fine.
Yeah, it definitely takes time, but it just comes. Like it's not some, like I don't need to, like, I mean, it depends on the level of English. Like you can also, if you come as a foreigner and your English isn't good enough to take classes, you need to take English classes first. So like there's this option to also have English classes that will help you here. But overall, it just comes with talking to people. Taking classes helps because then at least you always learn the right grammar.
Yeah.
And like get more vocabulary, but it's really just you listen to it. It's like, I mean, if a child learns a language, it's also just like exposed, right, to what everybody's saying. But of course, then I was always watching everything in English as well because there wasn't any like reason for me not to watch the things in English. And first I watched the things with subtitles. I like here, subtitles, but also in English.
Yeah.
And then I actually worked on Starbucks on campus because I wanted to like force myself to speak to other people because, you know, it's uncomfortable. You're not sure, you worry. So
I love that you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation to make yourself better.
Yeah,
a lot of people
don't
do that.
I think that's the reason why I came to the US too.
Well, you kind of, I mean, being in the position you're in, you kind of had to do that because you had no other choice, right? You're stuck here in the United States. If you need to communicate with anybody, you got to get better.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can get better like just by talking to other people. You don't necessarily need to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, but I think it was good for me.
I think it's good for everybody to be uncomfortable.
Probably.
So then when did you start working for Fox47?
Only like 5 months ago.
Wow. So you're a new hire.
Yes. So I graduated in May of 2021. And yeah, at first I started working for a video production company because it was very hard to find a job.
Where was that at?
In Detroit.
Okay.
So that was nice too. Like we filmed all like the operas of the Detroit Opera House. That was awesome.
Well, what kind of operas did you see? Do you remember like the names of them?
Yes, it was. So one was Blue. That was awesome. That was at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater.
Wow. And
then Bliss was actually in like the old opera house, which is kind of like a garage. And that was a crazy experience because it was 12 hours long. So we had to coordinate, you know, the people because they wanted us to film the whole thing.
And you had to take like shifts?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so tiring.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, in Germany, do you guys have operas? Is that a thing over there? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. I mean, I have never been to an opera before. I've worked for the video production company, you know.
Yeah.
But we definitely have operas. Yeah.
Have you seen any like famous operas, like as far as like the Phantom of the Opera?
No. Have you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the Wharton Center and seen it.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool because at the Wharton Center, it's a Broadway, so they had the set. And there's a scene, if you watch the Phantom of the Opera, he's like walking down these stairs or maybe up these stairs, but it's kind of like it's round. And it was so interesting to see at the Wharton Center because it like the whole thing turned as he's walking. Yeah. And it looked like you were watching a movie.
So nice.
And then there's like another scene in the opera or the Phantom of the Opera that a chandelier falls. And when it falls, they actually did it at the Wharton Center. And they did it like right above the crowd.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It's nice that they can do like those effects there. Like, they also show a lot of musicals, right? I really like musicals.
Yeah. What's your favorite musical?
The Lion King. Have you heard of it?
Is that considered a musical? Oh, the musical, The Lion King.
Yeah, I mean, I love The Lion King no matter what. But
who doesn't love The Lion King?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there are some people that are not a big fan of it, which is crazy.
Why
to
wouldn't
me.
you be a big fan of The Lion King?
I don't know.
What's wrong with The Lion King?
Yeah, I love The Lion King.
Anybody who doesn't like The Lion King, I don't know if I can trust them.
Yeah, no, they
I'm standing behind that.
But yeah, and I actually watched it on Broadway in New York. That was so awesome.
Wow. So when you first came to the United States, where did you go? Did you go sightseeing across the country?
No, like so I've been to the US before for vacation. And like we came to go to Florida, and one time I went for like a 2-week exchange, you know, but like I didn't mention it before because it's, you know, only 2 weeks. But that was like with where I was like for a few days at a high school here. That was in South Dakota in Sioux Falls.
Oh, wow.
And there we went to travel to Mount Rushmore and to the Mall of America and
That's cool.
things like that. And it's always nice to come here to go shopping, you know. And yeah, and then of course when I was studying, I didn't have that much time to travel, so I traveled, you know, to New York and Chicago. And then a year ago, actually, I did a road trip on the West Coast. So, but that was, you know, after my studies.
That is very cool. That's actually something I haven't done yet, and I want to. I want to do a road trip across country. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Coming to America to sightsee, like how was that?
That's super nice. I mean, there are so many places to go to. It's like hard to decide, because you pay. I'm sure it's like for Americans going to Europe, they're like probably like, oh, I have to visit every country, and because it's kind of close to the countries are so close to each other, right?
They're smaller, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it's easier, but coming here, you kind of have to because when you go to Europe, you are kind of like, okay, I'm spending this much money on a flight, so I want to see as much as possible, right?
Right.
But when you come here, you kind of have to decide, like, okay, am I going on vacation to New York, or to LA? Like, It's hard to combine things.
Yeah. I think it's difficult for Americans to plan a vacation. Whenever I want to go somewhere, I'm like, okay, where am I going to go and what am I going to do? Because like obviously you're limited by geography. Like you can't just travel from New York to LA unless you're flying.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could drive, but it would take a lot of time.
Yeah, and driving here is way more common than in Germany as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Have you ever been on the Autobahn?
Yeah, so you know what? I think a lot of people like confuse that, but like Autobahn is technically the translation of highway. So all our highways are.
That's what all the highways are called?
Yes.
So what's the highway that's where you can go as fast as you want?
So there are a lot of, or like multiple parts on the highway where they know that there's not a lot of traffic. So there's a sign that is like, oh, unlimited speed. Wow. But it's not like you go on
a specific
I-96
right.
and there's a lot of traffic and it's unlimited.
And it's a racetrack.
Yeah, it's not like that, but it's funny that, you guys I think it's cool, but for us it's not like, whoa.
No? Do people typically do they travel fast in those zones?
I think yes, yeah.
Do you have a driver's license in Germany?
I got my driver's license right before I came, so I didn't get a car or anything. Oh, okay. So like my parents had a car, but I didn't really drive in Germany before I came here. I
was gonna ask you if you were hot rodding your car in Germany.
No.
No.
So, yeah. But yeah, so because for us things are very close to each other. Like if we go to the Baltic Sea, it's like, from Berlin it's like 4 hours or 3 hours, and like that's. Then we already we travel through half the country basically, whereas here you go 3 hours, you're still in Michigan.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it kind of sucks when you're on a road trip.
Yeah.
Although you always know when you're in Michigan because like, I don't know how often you've gone out of the state, but when you're coming out of Ohio or Indiana and you cross that border, the roads are like, it's like you're driving down back roads.
But like, why is that? Why is it like that?
I don't know.
I just did a story about potholes, It's kind of crazy that Michigan is so...
I don't get it. I don't know if they don't allocate enough money to the roads or what, but I mean, they're terrible. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have that problem in Germany? Roads are bad? No?
I don't think so. No. Like, I've never... because here when I drive, I constantly think, oh my God, another pothole, like I need to
dodge,
watch,
Now, you had mentioned when you came to the United States for vacation, you went to the Mall of America, and you said you loved shopping. Mm-hmm. Is that something you can do a lot of in Germany? Is there malls? I'm sure there's malls there, but are there? The thing is, like in the United States, here in Lansing alone, there's 3 different malls. Is it something that's pretty common in Germany where there's malls everywhere?
No, I think in Germany you have more like a mall in like smaller size cities you have like one mall, you don't have like multiple malls, I would say. But it's just what's different is that here you a lot of times, first of all, the brands are usually cheaper here.
Really?
So like Nike and it's more expensive in Germany, and also if you think about like the exchange of the dollar to euro,
right?
Then it's kind of more cheaper for us to go and buy stuff here. But it's just like different because you have a lot of outlets, and in Germany we don't have a lot of outlets, so that's also something that's different. In Germany it's more like H&M, Zara, I don't know how to explain it, but it's not that brand, like not a lot of, like here you go to mall and there's one brand after the other.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like just one or
like Adidas, Nike.
Right.
I don't know. Gucci.
You wear Gucci?
No.
I don't know anybody that wears Gucci.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Interesting.
It's like one of those brands if you buy, like, I don't know. It's just, you got to be a specific kind of person, right?
Yeah, but with brands, some brands I always feel like I would show off, So I don't.
I feel like Gucci is like a show off brand. Like you're wearing Gucci.
Yeah, or Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah, don't do that.
No, I mean it's no, but I mean it looks good. So if anybody's listening that likes to wear it, it's nice to wear.
If you do it, go ahead. I might judge you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I don't care.
And that's something that's very nice about the US, that people don't judge each other that much.
Oh, are you serious?
Like I think that people don't. What do you think?
I think people are very judgmental.
Really? But like,
oh yeah.
Because in Germany, I would never be brave enough to go to the supermarket in pajamas. And here people do that in school, Like,
well, I think people do judge because of that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. It's kind of I don't know. I don't want to disparage anybody who does do that. However, I think that it's not very, I don't know, like I don't want to say modest, but it's not like something that it's not something I would do, for one. For two, I just don't think I don't know. It's just,
yeah, I understand.
I don't want to say trashy, but it's something that I don't know. For me, like whenever I was raised, like whenever you go out of the house, you wear nice clothes. Like you want to look nice. And for me, pajamas is kind of one of those things that like you throw on when you're lounging around the house, and then yeah,
you shouldn't wear it outside.
I should wear pajamas outside?
No, like you shouldn't wear it outside.
Yeah.
No, I mean it was funny because the other day I went to the movie theater and nobody was wearing like jeans, like everybody was wearing like leggings or well, I mean, see, the thing is, like for me, when I go to work every day, I wear sweatpants. Oh really?
Yeah, because I'm working online, and I mean they're like Adidas, and they're like I guess exercise pants, but they're not pajama pants.
Yes.
They don't have like characters and stuff all over them.
Like those Christmas outfits.
Yeah. I do have a pair of those. My daughter, I don't know if I should say this. So my wife bought she bought everybody matching pajamas for Christmas, and matching pants, and then like a white T-shirt.
That's very American.
It is very American, and so she bought this, but for me, she had to buy women's pants because they didn't have it in the men's size, and so my daughter has not let me forget that.
No.
Yeah, she makes fun of me. Ha, you got on women's pants.
Oh, that's funny.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
No, as long as it fits. So.
Yeah, no, I rock them. I rock them around the house. They're comfortable.
No, that's nice. And I like those like traditions here of like taking family pictures, with matching outfits. I think that's very cute. I don't know. It's not very common in Germany. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
we don't really send Christmas cards and all those family, sometimes families do a photo shooting, but yeah.
So traditions there are kind of different. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Sounds like real boring, right?
No, definitely not. I think it's different. I think of us Americans as being like different than the rest of the world because we like to like accentuate everything. We like to make like Christmas like the biggest deal possible. And for some other countries, it's not necessarily a huge deal. It's just another day and we might celebrate it a little bit. But like here in America, like you got to like buy hundreds of presents, you got to have like a stack of presents for your kids. And
yeah, that's true. That I think maybe that all events and everything is kind of bigger here. Like everything that's being done and stuff. But
do you think it's a good thing? Like because I feel like you can look at things from a more nuanced perspective. Like, how it is in Germany and you see how like people in Germany react to things like that. And then you see how people react to things like that here in the United States.
Yeah.
Do you notice like a good and bad to that?
like what I just think like with the high school spirit and the sports and and then even like holidays and stuff, like the 4th of July, like it's nice. Like why not have fun with on a day like that? Why
not make it a big deal?
Yeah, why not?
That makes sense.
Like have nice experiences and make prom a big thing. Like we have one prom. Like we don't have homecoming or stuff, like all these dances in between. But like, why not do something nice for the kids? Like I think that's something really awesome about the US. As long as it's not like, as long as people are not judged that don't like it, I feel like, if somebody doesn't feel comfortable with something, like prom or, I don't know. But like, I don't see anything negative about it.
No.
I
think the only thing for me, like the only problem I see with it, like here in the United States, is that you always got to do things bigger and better.
Okay.
So like every year, like, okay, I did it big last year. This year I got to make it even bigger or even better. I got to buy that better present or, like buy better fireworks or whatever it is.
Okay, well, maybe the money problem or like that would be maybe an issue because...
I wouldn't say money necessarily. I would just say that like we got to like set the expectations even higher.
Yeah, but I mean that it would also be nice being happy with 3 presents and not 10.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
this kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little bit different, but I feel like that really just depends on the family as well, right?
And I think it depends on the family. And I also think that here in America, we have a different perspective of like belongings and like material items, right? Like how are they in Germany with that? Are they materialistic? Because we're pretty materialistic here. We always have to have bigger TVs, better TVs, new cars, like better clothes.
True.
Better phones. That's a big thing. Phones. Everybody has to have the newest phone or the newest laptop or newest tablet. Are they like that in Germany?
And I think actually things like this also get released here earlier. We are always a little bit behind in Europe. Okay. I think we always get it a little bit later if it's from a company in the US.
Yeah.
And for us also like the newest iPhone is then super expensive, so like
What's super expensive? Because I think they're super expensive here.
No, I also think they're super expensive, but like they are even more expensive. Like even without the difference between the dollar and the euro, even if it would be the same, it would still be more expensive and for us. And like $200 more or something, like I just think, or I don't know. And also a lot of people in Germany use like Samsung or like.
What do you have? You have an Apple phone.
Yeah, so
you're on Team Apple. I love it.
Yes. And here it's like nobody has a different phone almost, right?
I know a lot of people that have Samsungs.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not a fan. Anytime I text them and it turns green, I'm like, I don't really want to talk to you.
But that's a difference. I already forgot your question.
I was talking about the materialism. Like, are they as materialistic in Germany or in Europe as the United States? Because, I mean, the thing is, we always have to have the biggest, baddest thing, it seems.
I mean, with cars and stuff, I don't think so.
No?
Because, but it's hard to judge. I don't know. And I just think that Germans are more judgmental. So, like, it matters how you look. Like even if you go to the supermarket or to the movie theater, like you dress up for the movie theater.
And like a suit and tie?
No, but like
nice clothes, like jeans and a nice shirt or something.
Yes. Which is, super different.
Yeah, that is different. I guess it sets a tone and like sets a standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you people have expectations of you, but then at the same time, you should be able to just do whatever you want. Yeah,
so that's what I think is nice about the US because, of course, nobody should go to a job interview in pajamas,
Why not?
But
what if you work from home? You could wear pajama pants and have like a tie on the top.
Yeah, but are you going to show your boss at the interview?
Yeah, maybe it's a Skype or like a Zoom interview.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, but that's something that I would like to see in Germany, that people just let other people be,
Yeah, they're more accepting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, there are also good things about Germany. I feel like I'm a little bit negative.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's negative. I just think that, I think obviously like here in America, we have a certain narrative of like the way we are, you know, and then we kind of just assume that maybe the rest of the world's the same way, but they're not. I mean, it's interesting to hear, I think, different standards and whatnot.
Yeah. And every country, I think, has their own traditions and things that are different.
Yeah. Now, I feel like we went on a huge rabbit trail
about the difference
just random things.
Yeah.
How is it working for Fox47? Do you like it? Is it? Yes. I know that you came here to study that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was always my dream, and like, to be honest, you know, I didn't come to the US thinking, okay, I will stay here and get a job on TV. Like, I thought even if I go back to Germany, that would probably take a few years, because usually people that you see on the news in Germany are not that young, you know, like, I just think it takes a long time. And
it's kind of like one of those things that like just older people are in, and it's hard to get involved in that realm, in that career.
I just think it's very competitive. So, you know, you need a lot of experience. I thought writing, you know, like behind the scenes, basically. Yeah. But like I came here to study to like distinguish myself, you know, from other journalism students in Germany, so I could, you know, maybe have higher job chances when I come back.
Is this something that's looked highly upon if you come to the United States to study that and you get experience here?
So that's what I hope, because of course I don't know if that's actually then going to be the case. So I think now work experience would definitely help as well.
Yeah.
You know, but also now I really like working here, so that's like I really like it. Now,
working here, what's your goals? Like, as far as working here in the United States, I mean, obviously you could go back to Germany at any point in time. But if you stay here, what do you plan on accomplishing? What are some of your goals?
Yeah, so
I'm sorry. And what do you feel like you could bring to the table for as a news reporter, and then maybe possibly as an anchor?
Yeah, so I really would like to first stay with the channel to improve, because I really think that there's a lot that I can improve, you know, and like get experience, because, you know, like I'm sure I'm more tense in front of the camera than people with even 3 years of experience, you know. So I really want to get the chance to grow, and it would be awesome, of course, to then also work for maybe a different channel in the future. And I think a lot of, you know, people want to grow market-wise.
Yeah.
But I think Fox47 is a great channel to be and to get opportunities. And yeah, I really think it's crazy, like, that they already gave me the chance to anchor the morning headlines. So, you know, I already anchor a little bit.
That's cool.
Which is like super nice as well. But I really like reporting, because as an anchor, you don't really get to talk to people. As an anchor, you just basically read.
You're kind of doing like the field work a little bit. Like you get to go out and explore and talk to different people, interesting people.
Yeah, and as a reporter, I need to find the stories, and like I need to have ideas and write the script. Like that's like all the activities, like all the variety of activities that I like, you know.
Yeah.
And edit and speak. So
now, when you find a story to report on, and you're writing the script, how do you know what narrative you need to portray? Like, what is your intent, your goals as far as like getting a story out there?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, of course, if let's say something happens, like, let's say somebody wins the marathon, okay? Like,
yeah.
Then, you know, of course, I think about, okay, who could I interview? Like, I'll interview the person that won, maybe like a family member who could say something, or a friend or a fan, you know, because that would be a positive story. You know, there's nothing controversial where, you know, of course, if it's like a difficult topic, where you have like opposing opinions, it's important to include both sides, you know, and like try to, you know, find the person. Or if somebody says, oh, like, a lot of people also send us messages or like emails asking us to help with certain things, and like we cannot help with anything, and with everything.
Yeah.
We cannot help with anything.
We're completely useless.
No, we cannot help with everything. But let's say
it would be impossible to.
Yeah, and like sometimes, if a person says, okay, I'm going to be kicked out of my apartment, like it's not on us to decide if that's right, Like,
right.
So
right.
like it's hard to like help everybody with that issue, for example. But let's say we do a story about that, then it would be important to also talk to the guy that's
kicking them out.
Yeah, to see what their side of the story is, like it is important, and like there's no narrative that I think, I'm not going to be like if it turns out that it's wrong that he's kicking them out, then of course it would be like the start would probably be like, oh, this person is suffering now, they are being kicked out, You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's important because I know exactly what you mean.
Okay.
You come at it from a neutral standpoint.
Yeah.
You get to you hear the opposing, and then you hear the counter argument. Yeah. And then you find a story in between. You kind of just tell both sides.
Yeah, and like without any like judgment. I think that's very important. Of course, if it's a story about a marathoner that wins the marathon, then of course it can be like, wow, that's cool. I can say that I think that's great too.
Yeah.
Because that's awesome, and it's not bad to show that.
But as far as keeping opinions out of like a controversial subject, then you can't really state an opinion. It's pretty neutral.
Yes.
I think that's really important, especially in today's day and age with the way like some of the media has gone. Like there's obviously some discourse in between like parties and like obviously like Fox News and CNN. Like there's certain people that watch Fox News because of like a certain narrative, and then there's other people that watch CNN because it fits their narrative, and then they feel like the people who watch that are the enemy and people who watch that are the enemy.
Yeah.
And I think when you have a media source that's kind of neutral, it's important because it kind of just gives you the news. You're not really focused on a certain narrative.
Yeah, and I think that's why local news are very good, because they are like all the reporters are reporting on local topics. It's not, there is not this. I think that makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's more important to get the local news than what's going on in the White House necessarily. I think it's important to know what's going on, but I think sometimes you can get too wrapped up in what is going on that you kind of forget about what's going on in your own community.
Yeah, I really like the community system, but like I also think it's important like to know what's going on even like in Europe, so I think that's also important. But I like that we can also address issues, for example, but on a local level. So like if there's some like, for example, the rising gas prices or something like that, we can talk to an Uber driver or like somebody here that has this is dealing with that problem,
Right, somebody it affects directly.
Yes, and tell a story about somebody that our viewers might know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important. Now you mentioned you like to focus on news that's going on in Europe. How do you get that news? Do you just like look? Do you have it on an app? Is there like a specific news site that you follow?
No, yeah, I like to watch some like German news outlets, and also BBC from the UK. So I like to look at different news outlets, and even like the New York Times and outlets like that also have a lot of international news. And I like that we also have some like in the morning we also address Ukraine and what's going on there right now. So I think that's very good. Yeah.
That's one thing I wanted to ask you, but before I ask that, what was I going to ask before that? What I was going to ask was that, so your perspective from like being a reporter and paying attention to what's going on like in Germany and their news sources, and then you see like the way we report things, are they different? Do you find like maybe there's like this like like let's say like a German or even like a European news source reports something that's going on in the United States, and then the United States reports it. Are they pretty much the same, or are they different? Because I've heard some things how
I think it's important to watch different news outlets, like also maybe from a country that isn't involved in something. Like if you listen to the BBC, for example, I think that's good, if it's something about Germany, to see like how they are talking about it and not how Germany is talking about it. Sometimes I think that's helpful to, see all of that, like to have maybe like get other points of a story,
Yeah.
So I do think that's helpful. And in the way the news are, I would say that Germans are more like, a little bit more monotone in the news. And so it's a little bit different, the newscast, yeah.
So when you're listening to the news, you're listening strictly to get the news. You're not listening because you want entertainment, because that's the thing, like with like Fox News and CNN, they're not even really news. Like it's not really like news sources. It's more of entertainment. The way they report it, like they're putting on a production.
I mean, they also, those bigger outlets, they also have an opinion section that local outlets don't have. So they like have they have experts or different parties come on to, talk about what they think.
Right.
But I think it's always stated, like I think it's, as far as I know, it should be like clear if you're watching something with an opinion.
Yeah.
Or if you're watching the regular news.
Right.
Because I think it's important not to just watch the news to watch the news and not.
Yeah. I think more people should just do that, because then you become aware of what's actually going on and what's important, what's not, instead of focusing on some of the dumb things. Now, my question was, with this whole Ukraine thing, and you obviously having family in Germany and you being so close, having close ties to what's going on overseas, how does that affect how's this affecting Germany? Like, because I mean, it's affected obviously the United States in so many different aspects, as far as like supply chain and gas prices and all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
Is it like that in Germany?
So the inflation is really extreme in Germany already. Like they expect the bread. My mom told me they expect the bread to be 10 euros soon, which is like insane, because now it's like €2.
Wow.
So like, things like that, like they're like worried about inflation, and of course about the war itself. Like they are more worried about than inflation, I would hope. But no, they like what I think is maybe different is like all the news right now in Germany are about Ukraine. Like it's really constantly. I feel like here we're still like far away, so I think it's easier to be like, okay, it doesn't affect us, because the chance that the war is going to be here, is lower.
Yeah.
But in Germany, they are scared.
I don't know, because I was really worried at first. But I think that is an aspect to it, that, we're so far away from it that it doesn't really affect us. Mm-hmm. But I think at the same time, we are concerned about it. But the thing is, like with the media, it's like so fast paced. Like, it's constantly a new story. And it's like, eventually Ukraine just becomes this other thing, like that's this other event that's going on. It's not really necessarily reported on as much.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
And like, but because you ask if it's how people think about in Germany, like it's very present, like every day. And in Germany, we have a lot of refugees. So, coming from Ukraine, and I saw a lot of things about people offering a room in their house, for one or two people, like taking on families. And that's something that I think we haven't seen before. Like this, really
this acceptance.
And like really supporting this now, and like really being like, okay, we need to step up and help these people,
Yeah. Well, I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome that they're doing that. I couldn't imagine being that close to Ukraine.
Very worried.
Yeah, I mean, at any point in time, you could be in a war.
Yeah, and it's very scary, and it's really like in the first week that really like affected me emotionally as well, because I just couldn't believe, like, seeing the pictures. To me, you know, Kiev could, or, you know, a city like that could also just be Berlin, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it could be us, you know? And I feel like sometimes it's easy for people to be like, oh, it's just some other country.
Yeah, it's not happening
some weird country, you know? But, like, it's not. It's literally normal people.
Yeah.
That have to deal with war.
Yeah.
And they never thought that would, or like, no, it's wrong to say they never thought, because the war has been going on there for 8 years, but of this extreme, you know, they had their normal lives, and
now
all the families are destroyed because the men needed to stay in the country, and only the women and children could flee.
I think that's one thing, like here in the United States, is we don't put that much attention on it because, like you said, we're so far removed from it. We feel so safe here. But I couldn't imagine if Lansing was the subject of Russia and they're flying these fighter jets in and they're shooting at apartment buildings with missiles, and there's babies and moms and grandmas and just families that are just being murdered.
Yeah, I think it's something that we cannot really imagine, you know, and like yeah, it's just that we need to like think, like I think people need to really think like, oh, it could be us, you know?
Yeah.
To kind of have more empathy.
Yeah. It really could be us.
Yeah.
Any point in time. I hope not. But, you know, it's really sad. I really hope that, you know, it does come to an end. But
yeah.
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 Now we're an hour in.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I told you it would go by fast.
Yes, no, that's crazy. Well, do you feel like you asked everything? Did we talk about everything you think would be interesting?
Well, I think that you're an interesting person, even though you don't think you are. Because before this, you're like, if we don't go an hour, it's okay. But I definitely think I could sit here all day and ask you questions about Germany. But it's because I'm naive to what rest of the world is like. So, is there anything else that you want to talk about, or I mean, as far as your work and what you do with Fox47?
You know, I just think it's important for people, because I didn't think I would get, like, didn't think I would get a job on camera in my first year after college, and especially not in a different country, and also not because of my accent. And I think that's something that...
You have an accent?
Thank you. But, you know, that's something that I want to kind of encourage people to think, okay, anything is possible. Like, I can achieve my dreams if I work for it and if I like believe in myself, because it was hard to come here. It was hard to get the scholarship, you know, because I had to increase my jump height and like, you know, always like train for that. And then when I got here, I needed to keep pushing to learn English, to be able to do internships off campus, you know, like really work with the company, and then to get a job. So like, I think it's important that we like work for our dreams and think that it's possible, and that an accent should limit us, you know, and there are going to be people that say no, or that are not going to like it, but you know, we have to try.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, again, that's one thing we kind of take for granted here in the United States is, you know, we don't have to go to Germany to study and then to get a better job. Like, I mean, a lot of the bigger corporations and everything are here in the United States. I mean, other countries are wanting to come to the United States to, you know, to study and go to college and get jobs here, so that it helps their careers when they go back to Germany or go back to wherever they're from, and, you know, the rest of the world. So I think that's one thing that we take advantage of here in the United States, like being an American citizen. We don't necessarily continue our education. We don't continue like learning and trying to be better. I mean, you see it all the time with people just kind of get comfortable where they're at, and they don't try to become better. They don't put themselves through difficult situations to become better. Mm-hmm. And so I think like with you, you know, like you coming to the United States and putting yourself in uncomfortable spots, like getting a job at Starbucks because you have to get better at speaking to people, and you thought that would help you. I think that's an important thing. And I think that it's remarkable that you were able to do that. So yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's important that we don't let other people put us down, you know.
Never let anybody tell you what you're capable of, because I mean, as long as I'm a firm believer, if you work hard at anything, no matter what it is, you'll succeed. And it may not be like where you have like that idea of like, this is where I want to be in a year, but you will at least make progress. You know, like for instance, with the podcast, like, you know, obviously I'm not like a big podcaster, but as long as I'm working, you know, diligently and, you know, daily or, you know, whenever I'm able to do it, I'm going to get further in the process.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not necessarily a big podcaster, but I will get better eventually and become a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and I think about something else that would help is if we would be confident in our in the like in our dream, because you know it's easy, because of course, you know, it was a little bit weird if I would be like, let's say I'm 15, or let's say I'm in my Madonna journalism class and my English is broken, you know, I cannot speak that well, but I say that I want to become a news presenter or news anchor, you know. So like it can be like weird, right? Or like people could judge me, but I need to say it and I need to like be confident that this is what I want, because then maybe somebody will be able to help me in the future, or you know, has advice for me, or you know. But if I don't even talk about my dream because I feel like, oh no, it's too big, it cannot come true. And the same for you. I think if you tell people about your podcast and you're confident about it, you know, even when starting out, like for other people with the podcast, you know, like if they tell people about it, then maybe people will be like, oh, I would like to be a part of your podcast. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that I love that you said that, because for me personally, that's what I experienced. Because when I first started the podcast, like I've never done this. Like I never had been in front of a camera. I never talked to anybody. Like I was extremely nervous doing it, and I was not comfortable doing it. But you know, as time's gone on, I've gotten better. I've done more and more. Like I feel comfortable. But I wasn't comfortable sharing that with other people that I knew, like maybe at work or whatever. So I didn't tell anybody about it. If they found out about it, they just found out about it. But I wasn't comfortable being like, hey, yeah, I do a podcast. Like that's my hobby. Cause then they'd be like, oh really? Where at? Can I listen? Like, and then I'd be like, no, I don't, I sound like an idiot. I don't want you to listen to me. But as time's gone on, I've gotten more comfortable because, you know, this is what I want to do. Like I pour, like when I'm not working or I'm not with my family, I'm pouring everything into the podcast, literally everything, constantly thinking about it, always thinking about it.
Wow.
It's so, and I spent hours doing it. Like after this episode, I'll probably spend 2 to 3 more hours working on it. You know, it's a hobby, but it's something that I pour myself into to try to be better. And I think if you're doing that, you will, and you believe in what you're doing, then you can accomplish anything.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great way to end this podcast, right?
It is a great way. Where can people find you?
Yeah, on Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter. Really, people can really feel free to reach out to me also via email, which can be found on the Fox47 news website, because I'm always looking for story ideas. So, and I like telling the story of other people and, you know, hear more about what they think and maybe issues they see that should be addressed. And yeah, I like to dig into that.
So would you recommend that people reach out to you with a story?
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah.
It would definitely help me.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love that.
Well, thank you for doing this, and thank you for coming to the United States. And I mean, because you're a part of our community. You are positively impacting our community by sharing other people's stories. I mean, I can't do it by myself. So I'm glad that you are a part of a network to, you know, be able to do that. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.